Dear everyone, it is a great pleasure to be here with you today at the opening of the seminar Southeast Europe Youth for European Year of Volunteering 2011. This event reminded me of my first volunteering experience in primary school. We were all asked, a group of students, to gather gloves and go out to a forest to clean up the forest from all the garbage. It was a day which started out with a rather negative thought, but ended up with lots of friendships, a clean environment, and a conclusion that when we are organized, we can achieve more. The Council of Europe, together with the European Union, have long recognized the driving force of organized youth and the importance of a guidance on how to be a valuable European citizen. Europe has seen the positive examples, for example, of the 1990s, but now also faces challenges when young people must deal with the effects of the socio-economic crisis. Besides the immediate benevolent result, volunteering today can therefore promote core values like human rights, democracy and rule of law, promote living together in diverse societies, and promote youth mobility and participation in an increasingly globalized world. Volunteering can also serve as a forum for networking, regenerating economies, and assure social inclusion of the marginalized and disadvantaged. The European Youth Foundation is a fund established in 1972 by the Council of Europe to provide financial support for European youth activities. Its purpose is to encourage cooperation among young people in Europe by providing financial support to European youth activities which serve the promotion of peace, understanding and cooperation in a spirit of respect for the Council of Europe's fundamental values, such as human rights, democracy and rule of law. The European Youth Fund thus provides financial support to activities undertaken by non-governmental youth organizations or networks, or by other non-governmental structures involved in areas of youth work. I'm glad to see today that the seminar already makes use of the toolkit on international volunteer management, and that the two new young trainers who have attended COE trainings in 2011 and 2010 will lead important parts of the program during this seminar. The seminar also promotes cross-border cooperation, this time focusing on Southeast Europe. I hope that you will have a successful seminar and, besides all, a fun experience, so you can go home with friendships and a greater knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Should I move this?
You can use this one.
This one, okay. Does it work?
It should work. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear volunteers, I'm here representing the European Union Delegation, the European Commission. As you all know, this year is the year of voluntarism. Why this happened? Well, the Council, European Council, approved this year in 2009 on the proposal, besides other also of the European Commission. And why? Because we recognize the potential of volunteers in the European Union, but what we also recognized was that there was basically no common framework, legislative framework for their work. So what we wanted to achieve was basically, first of all, to improve the legislation framework for the volunteerism in the European Union, and secondly, to raise awareness of the European Union citizens about volunteerism, to give appraisal to volunteers, and also to inspire the Europeans to become volunteers. In numbers, after an analysis, we realized that there are about 100 million people in the European Union that volunteer, and the rest, about 400, do not. So basically what we are trying to achieve is to give more respect to the volunteers and also to attract more volunteers to come. We also realize that there are some countries that are more keen, where people are more keen to volunteer, such as in the north of the Europe, where over 40% of people volunteer. Then there are the Central European countries, where it's about 20%, and then there are some of the South European countries, when it's less than 10%. So basically, what we are trying to do is to increase the interest of these countries, and to show them that basically to volunteer is not only to give help to somebody else, but mainly to receive something yourself that really enriches yourself. As concerns this European Year of Volunteering, we launched a communication campaign. The European Commission launched a communication campaign for this year with the slogan, "Volunteer and make a difference." There are basically three main parts of the European Year of Volunteering. The first one is the bus or the tour bus. I think it only goes around the European Union countries, so it will not come here, unfortunately. But in each of the member states, the bus stays for 10 days. When the volunteers meet, they show to people what exactly they do, and they exchange the best practice. Then the second part of the year is the best stories or the best personal stories of the volunteers that show what exactly they achieved in their community and how exactly it changed them. And it's really inspirational to see so many people, and it's really sometimes very emotional also. And the third part of this year are the conferences. The conferences are also taking place all around Europe, and the main basis for them is to give the place for the decision makers to see why is this important and what exactly volunteers need in their country, how to improve the legislation framework, so this can be improved in the future. Because, as I said, in some countries, to be a volunteer is seen as something special, as something that gives you even an advantage at the interview when you want to get a good job. But in other countries, being a volunteer could be also seen as something negative. Like, why do you bother? I speak from personal experience. What do you have in it for yourself that you volunteer? It must be something really strange about you. So this is exactly the position in some countries we want to change, and we need to change. And we want the volunteering to become something really special that everybody would like and wants to join. The European Commission also have the program about youth. It's called Youth in Action, and in the financial framework 2007-2013, it had a total budget only for this Youth in Action about 900 million euros for 7 years. And one of the actions of this program is the European Voluntary Service. And this year we also mark the 15 years of the European Voluntary Service. I can give you some numbers about this service. It's open to all people between 18 to 30 years, coming from the EU or from any other country in the world. It's free of charge for volunteers. They don't have to pay anything except for, in some cases, the travel costs. Since its launch 15 years ago, it involved more than 50,000 young people, and the volunteering opportunities are offered in more than 175 countries. So in the end, let me say that this year is considered for us to be both a celebration but also a challenge, because it is a celebration of the 100 millions of people in the European Union that work in communities during their free time without any, let's say, wage, but in some cases also without any moral support from the rest of the people. For example, in hospitals, schools, sports facilities, and so on. And their efforts make a huge difference to their communities and in countless ways, also to themselves, because the world would be very much worse off without the volunteers. And this is also a challenge, as I said, for the 3/4 of the European population that is not yet volunteering, and we hope that with the help of this year and with your help and with the example of the volunteers, they are going to join in, because we would like all of us to do a difference. Thank you.
Policy in Southeast Europe. The OSCE mission to Bosnia and Herzegovina is very pleased to be supporting this event as a forum for volunteer organizations to meet, share strategies, and develop. The development of cohesive communities is one of the mission's highest priorities, and volunteerism is a vital part of this process. Volunteering has the ability to build bridges between individuals and communities, to promote inclusion and trust, as well as to bring economic benefits. Unfortunately, voluntarism is relatively... Chief reasons for this are that legal frameworks, institutional support, and recognition of volunteering are sadly lacking. However, social and professional skills for combating prejudice and for encouraging active engagement between people, regardless of ethnicity or social status, spent in building strong, sustainable, and enriching communities, giving them a personal stake in the future of their country. It's vital to the healthy functioning of a democratic society. Voluntarism. It is a tool to meet community needs and to strengthen individuals' professional skills and competencies, to develop a pool of increasingly qualified people, and to foster a secure and stable environment. Additionally, this event also creates the opportunity for volunteers from the region, and especially from Bosnia and Herzegovina, to make their own recommendations by the European Union. It's now time for voluntarism and volunteer organizations to take their place and become recognized as a driving force. An opportune time, as already mentioned, when we mark the 2011 European Year of Volunteering, as well as the 10th anniversary of the International Year of Volunteering events, to increase understanding of the importance of volunteerism among civil society, business, and government, and to advocate for a solid legal framework at the BIH and Federation BIH